the biggest news dropped last night, shattered our Monday night plans. The North Carolina Courage have traded U.S. women's national team midfielder Jaedyn Shaw to Gotham FC for $1.25 million. This breaks the interleague record for an NWSL trade that was just set a month ago by Ali Setnor. It's been reported by ESPN's Jeff Kassouf and confirmed by multiple sources. Absolutely surprising coming on a Monday night, considering just 3 days ago, Jaedyn Shaw started for North Carolina Courage and scored the lone goal for them in their 1-1 draw with Utah. Jess, what was your initial reaction when this news got dropped in our group chat last night?
First of all, my jaw dropped at the numbers. I mean, what? How? But for a player like Jaedyn Shaw, there is a reason why she left San Diego, and that was to go to a club where she could mesh well with. You know, North Carolina Courage are very much so a possession-oriented team. They love playing in tight spaces, which at the end of the day is the kind of player Jaedyn Shaw is, really. Being able to play in tight spaces, combining in the final third. But for some reason, she just did not connect well with this team. And what makes this pretty fascinating, and I wish I had this type of decision to be able to make in my playing career, but just for her to not get things right with Courage, then she can go somewhere else. And she made that decision. This was her decision, and if this is a right move for her, good for her. And hopefully things work out for her at Gotham, because we have seen what she can bring to the table. We know that this is a talented player. We just haven't seen it this season. And so maybe Juan Carlos Amoros will change things for her, because I've seen him throughout his coaching career with Gotham FC turn players around into great players. Neely Martin went to Gotham FC from Racing Louisville, was not starting with Racing, and go to Gotham in 2023 as a 6, and she's an outside back. He turned her into a 6 and a NWSL champion that year. And Jalen Howell comes to Gotham FC this season, coming from Seattle and Racing Louisville. We don't see a player like Jaedyn Shaw developing in this league. Why? You know, she's top draft pick, Herman Trophy winner at FSU, and look at her sprouting right now with Gotham FC. So I'm hoping Juan Carlos does the same for Jaedyn Shaw. So I'm excited for this move just because I've seen some positivities from him as a coach. And so this is from a player's perspective. I'm happy for Jaedyn Shaw, and I hope she learns something from him. And, you know, she's able to connect really well with this Gotham side. And, you know, she's going to be in there with Rose Lavelle also. Like, holy moly, like, what a midfield right now. Wow.
I think in the immediate sense, if we're looking at like winners, losers side of thing, I think the Courage are actually coming out as winners in the immediate sense. I think in the long-term sense, we might revisit a move like this and say, hey, wow, look how this has maybe panned out for Gotham. But as far as getting a player for potentially $400K plus with incentives or tack-ons, and then now before the season is out, almost double, potentially triple the amount that you're getting in a return on the transfer fee, like, you got to say that's a lot of money for North Carolina Courage. And in the immediate impact, like right now, since those are the winners, in my opinion. Courage are making something out of maybe nothing, because you have to look at how this went. The move played out for North Carolina Courage. Didn't play out well. For some reason, it just didn't click. Sanchez and Shaw and plugging in and plugging out. I mean, this is a player that eventually got relegated to the bench, like, and just now started to get back into the starting lineup. So maybe in that immediate sense, they're winning with this money. Where's it going to go? Who they're going to get? How are they going to build?
Well, I mean, that's been the question all along for North Carolina, even in the past offseason. Who are they going to get? Okay, they get Shaw. How much is she going to be a goal scorer that they need? And it did not work out, whether it was the system or the style or perhaps a mental factor going into this for Shaw. This was one of her worst years that we've seen of her professionally. not being able to produce, not playing consistently, not playing confidently either. So this move for Shaw, great. A shakeup for her and what she's going to do. I mean, even in recent weeks with North Carolina, Shaw's been playing so deep as a 6. That's not where she wants to be. She wants to be a 9. She wants to be a 10. She wants freedom and creativity to go forward. And that's not what North Carolina was asking of her and putting her in those positions. But guys, $1.25 million for Jaedyn Shaw is a lot of money, especially considering the move for Ali Setnor, who #1 draft pick, U.S. Young Female Player of the Year, going to Kansas City with $600,000 to the #1 team in the league. And now you're getting Jaedyn Shaw at Gotham for $1.25 million. That is insane. That's so much money. That is, to me, a markup of a pricing that I am very confused where that's coming from. And if it's the business side of things for North Carolina, great job for them. As you mentioned, Sandra, that return on investment, huge, because they got a player in and they 7 months later shuffled her out and were able to double, triple their money. But I'm shocked at the $1.25 million. I don't think Jaedyn Shaw's performance this year warrants that much money for a record-breaking deal in the NWSL. That's insane, that amount of cash.
It is. And I'm also kind of like, who's the financial advisor for Gotham? Can I get some of that? Like, what is happening here? Like, who's like just being like, you know what, don't worry about it. 1.2 mil, got it. We got it in the books. Don't worry about it. We'll do it in incremental increments and all kinds of incremental payments, and let's go. And like, just make it, just make it happen. And I'm just like, goodness gracious, I would love some of that, advice as well. Like, to have the confidence and I guess to be able to just sort of have the book balancing in tow to be able to say at this point in the season, let's bring it. But it also brings up all of those questions. Like, maybe it's immediate reaction. So maybe just like there's still silver linings for both. There's that kind of feeling where it's like, oh, what a win for both teams here, and that the Courage are getting this return in terms of dollars, and that Gotham is like adding to the depth of their squad in a playoff push. But what's it going to look like, where she's going to play, to your point about playing in deeper lying roles more recently, and if that, whether or not that's her preferred position, or whether or not she was told that this is where she's got to be for now, this is where we see you for now. Well, I don't know if that changes at this point in time in the calendar for Gotham. Like, they've got a number of players that are in the midfield, I think, that are in front of Shaw at this moment as well.
That's why I think it works, actually, for Shaw to go to Gotham at this point, because Gotham, a big picture, back-to-back wins in the NWSL. They, after 6 straight weeks of being just hovering in 8th place above that playoff line, they're now into 6th place. They're finding their groove. So Shaw goes to this team where there's absolutely no pressure on her to perform or be the superstar, be the $1.25 million signing, with all the weight on her shoulders to score all the goals and lift this team out of the cellar in the standings, because they're already there. They sit in 6th spot in the standings. So for Shaw, it's almost like, okay, I can come in, I can play some minutes, but it's not all on me to get this team in the playoffs. I am just here to supplement this team into the playoffs, which was not at all the case with North Carolina. I think there was so much conversation and talk last season. Okay, Shaw is going to change everything for North Carolina, bring it in. This is a young 20-year-old player. She can't handle all that pressure. She shouldn't have to handle all that pressure to be the one on the team to do it. And that's why, for me, Gotham and Shaw, I think she's going to fit in really well. Maybe not get the minutes that she wants, but the minutes that allow her to contribute in bursts and pieces to be a depth player, which is so crazy for a $1.25 million signing. But that's what they're going to ask of her this year, and that's plenty.
Look at the current in Setnor. Like, that's kind of how that's playing out right now. Setnor's coming off of the bench at moments for that Kansas City side. And it's wild to think that just like a month ago, we were talking about, wow, $600K intra-league move. And now here we are talking about Shaw smacking that number out of the park. Like, incredible stuff here.
But when you look, Jess, at Gotham and their midfield, their strikers, who they have, knowing that Shaw can play in a variety of roles, where is she going to fit in tactically for
This
Juan
is
Carlos?
so tough. I don't know. This is a big question mark, because she's a very much so centralized player, so most certainly not out wide. she's going to have to be in the middle. But I really don't know how Juan Carlos Amorós is going to use her. They have a 9. They have a natural 9 on their team who's obviously in Golden Boot race, Esther Gonzalez. And so I don't know. I haven't seen her and Rose play too much together with the US team. So like, I don't know. I can't even answer that question.
Maybe this is
really
part
don't.
of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because the other side of these moves is like per the CBA, like none of this can be done without consent, right? Players have to be aware of these moves. They have to sign off on them. And so maybe there's a little bit of that, to your point, Lisa, like taking some of that pressure off. I mean, in looking at how this season has played out for Shaw, she ended up getting relegated to the bench, I think, because of some of that pressure. I think the coaching staff at the time was like, we need to try to take some of this off of this kid. Like, you're not going to be the starter. Like, we want to see you build into games. Yeah, at one point, Nahas kind of was shutting down some of the media availability for Shaw to try to make sure that she didn't have her attention split and spliced into other places, like just to sort of like make sure that, alleviate some of the pressure. Things still ended up playing out the way that they did, but this is, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The number attached to the current form of the player, I think folks are like really fixated on at this moment. I think I said it in our group chat. I was like, I was a little surprised that Shaw moved out of the Courage before maybe somebody like Ashley Sanchez, because I think there's also a underlying conversation there to ask about whether or not that's panning out for them
Sandra,
as well.
everyone in the YouTube chat is like, what about Ashley Sanchez?
Yes.
She's got to be next. Get her out of North
Yeah.
Carolina. Shout out to all you guys.
I love it. Yeah, the chat knows, baby. And so I'm just kind of like, that was my first reaction. But who knows? They got this return on Shaw. That's not to say that maybe there won't be a future move for players in the Courage. You have to wonder if at this point in the season, making this move, do you take a look at where you are in the standings, and are you maybe not necessarily waving that white flag, but maybe you're starting to tie it together and look a little bit ahead to next season? So what are they going to do with the funds that are coming in? Is there still going to be an additional move to be made? A move like this absolutely signals, if you didn't know before, maybe this signals that North Carolina are sellers, and you should be getting on the phone with them if you're looking for additional players. Like, what and who will they continue to build with, moving forward? So there's a lot here, I think, for both sides. I think for Gotham, it's like, where's she going to fit? Is she just going to be depth? Like, how's she gonna come in? Is this going to be more depth for them? And is that going to be a really good thing for Gotham? Is not only they do their playoff push, but they have heavier match loads with things like CONCACAF W Champions Cup. You have to make sure you have those depth players, those players that you can kind of swap in and out. And then I think for the Courage, there's still that feeling of like, what's left to come.
One last thought from me. You guys remember, obviously, Jaedyn Shaw playing for San Diego Wave. Casey Stoney started to bench her. North Carolina pick her up. She's continuing to be benched. Why is that? Is this a player issue, though? We have to look on, both sides of this. So, like, how...
Like, attitude-wise?
Attitude-wise? I don't know what her attitude's like. I'm just throwing that out there. I never played with her. I don't know, what her demeanor is like at practice. But this is supposed to be a world-class player who's not even starting for her club. I mean, it's been a very long time since she has consistently started for a club. And this transfer fee absolutely just blew my mind for, someone who hasn't been performing this season, who isn't predominantly starting. She started a few times with Nathan Thackeray. But I'm like, is this a good move for Gotham as well? Because I have friends on Gotham who are great human beings who put in the work at practice. So this is going to be interesting for a player like Shaw, moving from, club to club and not starting, and being able to get this transfer fee absolutely just blows my mind.
This will be Jaedyn Shaw's third club in 12 months in one calendar year, going from San Diego to North Carolina to Gotham. However, Jess, you know this league better than anyone, and how small it is, how people talk. If there is anything off the pitch happening with Shaw, attitude wise, practice, whatever you want to speculate it may be, there's no way that Gotham doesn't know about that. And
True.
they either don't care or they're thinking that they can change it, right? But there's no way that it's not known if there
That's
is
true.
anything.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
We won't
So we
know
shall
until
see.
we see her.
Yeah.
And this move, not even official, spoken by North Carolina or Gotham at the time of this episode dropping and our recording of it, just been reported by Jeff Kassouf and ESPN. But we'll see, because so often we see club or players not be available for their club while things are happening. She played last week for North Carolina. When this trade is going to go through, when she'll be available for Gotham. These are all questions we have, Sandra. Absolutely.
I'm here for it. I'm always open to listening to all the takes, as spicy as they want to be, as cold oatmeal as they can be. But I'm curious. I am curious how it plays out for player in particular, because I have to imagine, since we're talking about like some of the player side of things, like I have to imagine that that's also like equally frustrating. Like no one's gonna know more than the player themselves. Like
Absolutely.
Jesus, this is gonna be my third club in a year. Like the presence of mind that's going to take inside of your head, is I can only imagine, because I'm not a current player in one of the best leagues in the world, and so I do wonder if maybe we'll get a little bit of that from Shaw, a little bit of the chip on the shoulder type of play.
I hope so.
And maybe that's what Gotham wants. They want, that's part of what they wanted, not just the potential high ceiling, high prospect of it all.
Mhm.
They want a player that maybe they feel like they're back into a corner and need to box their way out. And we'll see. I hope we get to see it.
Well, Gotham takes on San Diego at Snapdragon Stadium on the West Coast this Friday, 10 p.m. So potentially going against her former club in her potential first game with Gotham FC. We'll see.